This week on Healthy Living, a look at obstetric fistula, a devastating childbirth injury that often leads to isolation. Professor Serigne Magueye Gueye discusses some solutions to end fistula in Africa. And South Africa searches for the source of a deadly cholera outbreak. These stories and more in this edition of Healthy Living. Hello and welcome to Healthy Living. I'm Linor Moudou. It is one of the most serious and tragic childbirth injuries. Each year, between 50,000 to 100,000 women worldwide are affected by obstetric fistula, according to the World Health Organization. Many women in parts of Africa experience fistula and often suffer in silence. Reporter Eid Uwesu has more from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, in this report narrated by Omari Kaseko.
Christina James, a resident of Kahama in the Shinyanga region of northwestern Tanzania, traveled for more than 900 kilometers to CCBRT Hospital in Dar es Salaam in search of fistula treatment. Obstetric fistula, caused by prolonged and obstructed childbirth labor, has a devastating impact on women. The injury, which causes a person to lose control over bladder and bowel movements, can lead to further complications if not treated. James says she struggled with fistula for more than 2 years before she received surgical treatment.
I delivered the baby naturally and I was supposed to get stitches at the hospital, but after getting the stitches, they ripped off. I was sent to the hospital, but I already had a fungus infection.
Despite seeking help, James says her medical woes did not end until this year when she arrived at CCBRT Hospital.
I'm asking for anyone who has a child to look at them carefully and send them to the hospital when she feels pain. We shouldn't leave to people who don't know. They cause us a lot of problems.
The memories of her healing journey, she says, are painful. She was socially isolated and laughed at, and found herself unable to work because of the shame associated with her injury. She wants to change this situation for others. Doctors in the country also want to encourage women to understand the condition and seek help. Daniel Michael, a surgeon at a hospital where James is getting treatment, says the community also needs to support women.
We are asking if we can help these women in a timely manner because the biggest problem of fistula occurs during labor pain. These patients are ignored, so we are asking at the hospital level, patients shouldn't be in a long extended period of time of labor pain. And if the hospital can't help them on time, they should refer them as quickly as possible.
Every year, according to World Health Organization, between 50 and 100,000 women are affected by obstetric fistula, which can be treated usually through surgery. For Eid Uwesu in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, Omari Kaseko, VOA News.
Dr. Serigne Magueye Gueye is professor of urology at the University Cheikh Anta Diop in Dakar, Senegal, and chair of urology at the Hospital Général de Grand Yoff. He tells us more about obstetric fistula.
Obstetric fistula is a communication between the urinary system and the female genital tract and occurring, unfortunately, during childbirth. The main cause is obstruction and of the blockage of the progression of the fetus on childbirth. And this could be prevented during the prenatal follow-up when the midwife or the doctor realize that the woman cannot deliver normally, and she should be referred to a center to have C-section. If not, unfortunately, when the fetus is the baby is not able to come out, there will be a compression of the bladder on the previous bone, and this will end up with a fistula. You can have other causes of fistula that could be iatrogenic, meaning instrumental, doing any procedure, endoscopic, surgical, in the pelvic area, meaning gynecological, urological, and general surgery, and very rare cases, but unfortunately prevalent in some places in the world, like in the South African region, what we call the traumatic fistula, due to violence to women. This is mainly due to early child marriages, or when the girl becomes pregnant very early, when she's not enough mature, and the pelvis not very large enough to allow the passage of the baby. This can happen. Actually, when the fistula is constituted, the only treatment is surgery. So the surgery can be very easy in the beginning, but if anybody not skilled enough will try to do it, unfortunately, it can end up to be an incurable fistula because of the what you call the complication of the first attempt. Prevention to reduce maternal mortality and morbidity. Number one, because if you have one mortality, you have 16 complications. And among the complications, fistula is there. So number two is to increase the surgeries, because it's very low. We do about, in Sub-Saharan Africa, 2,000 to 3,000 fistula a year. Or in some countries, you have about 4,000 to 5,000 fistula patients waiting, and about 1,000 to 5,000 new cases every year. So the backlog is huge. We're not forgetting to have some strategies for social reintegration for those who have been left behind for many years. They need to be more educated, to be economically independent. And in this regard, I think we can definitely think about eliminating obstetric fistula in Sub-Saharan Africa.
Western leaders have provided Ukraine financial and military support in its fight against Russian aggression. Some humanitarian organizations say that has affected the amount of aid going to other countries, like the Democratic Republic of Congo. VOA's Paul Ndiho visited the Sake camp in the eastern province of North Kivu.
This 15-year-old boy, who provided only his first name, Sam, has been displaced by conflict in the region. He was hit by a stray bullet and is now recovering after undergoing surgery in Sake camp. This mobile medical clinic and emergency surgical unit has been treating Sam and others who need urgent care. It was established by the International Committee of the Red Cross, or ICRC, in Goma, the capital of North Kivu province in eastern DRC. According to the UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency says as of March, more than 880,000 people have been forced from their homes in eastern DRC since March 2020, when violence surged. And Sylvain Linda, ICRC's head of subdelegation in Goma, says people here need physical and emotional help.
We're also working with in the field of health, particularly in mental health, because the people has been very affected by the displacement, and also because combat sometimes have been very tough and with a lot of casualties.
The ICRC is providing much needed humanitarian aid to the people in the camp. Linda says her organization's work in the DRC is challenging due to a financing shortage. Linda says that money that might have come to them is now going to Ukraine, and that the people in the DRC must fend for themselves. Despite financial strains, the ICRC provides support to several hospitals, including Bethesda Ndosho in Goma, the General Hospital in Beni, the Provincial Hospital in Bukavu, and a surgery program in Bukavu. Paul Ndiho, VOA News, Sake IDP Camp, Democratic Republic of Congo.
Almost 24 people have died from cholera just outside South Africa's capital, Pretoria, over the past few weeks, and hundreds have been hospitalized. VOA spoke to residents who have been affected and officials who are still searching for the source. Kate Bartlett reports from Hammanskraal, South Africa.
While cholera, a waterborne disease, might be common in other parts of Africa, it's unusual in South Africa, the most industrialized country on the continent. But almost 24 people have died in recent days, and in this impoverished area just outside the capital, Pretoria, residents like Lerato Marota place the blame squarely on the government.
People are dying about cholera, so we are scaring now because of our water is very dirty.
She says her husband became sick from the water, but luckily recovered after going to the hospital. However, she says while this outbreak is new, the water has been dirty for years.
We blame the government because we can't blame anyone because the government, it's been a long time we were fighting to get the clean water, but they didn't say anything about it. I think it's corruption because they don't clean the water.
South African NGO Gift of the Givers is trying to stop the spread of the disease, distributing thousands of bottles of clean water and other aid to the community and to schools like this one.
There was an outbreak in Hammanskraal, so the people of Hammanskraal are panicking to drink the tap water.
The government has also set up this field hospital to take pressure off the main hospital in town.
We promote people with any gastrointestinal symptoms or signs or problems that they come here, and then we do a triage out of them and then we give them treatment. So the treatment that we're doing on site is oral rehydration station, and then we put up intravenous therapy.
She said the government was still conducting tests to determine the source of the outbreak. Opposition parties have blamed government mismanagement for causing the crisis in the first place and say it's all part of South Africa's crumbling infrastructure. The worst electricity crisis in years has also been causing daily blackouts that are hitting the economy hard. Kate Bartlett for VOA News, Hammanskraal, South Africa.
We end the show today with a glimpse at fistula through the lenses of a Ghanaian photographer who used the power of his camera to capture the stories of some fistula patients. Take a look.
My name is Nana Kofi Akwa. I'm from Ghana, and I'm a documentary photographer. Once I discovered the power of photography, and I used to work as a writer in advertising, I felt, okay, I'm blessed with two abilities that most people don't have, so why don't I combine these skills in telling the stories on the continent? I was on assignment in Mali on fistula. A lot of the patients I met and interviewed and photographed, the main cause was that maybe they got married at the age of 13 or 14, got pregnant at 15. So you have 14-year-old girls and 15-year-old girls and 16-year-old girls getting into labor, and their body is not fully developed to handle the trauma of delivering these huge babies naturally. Easily the worst thing that can happen to a young woman. I met one who cannot walk properly. She needs a walking stick. And her only crime was that she got married. She was 15 and got married to a 30-something-year-old man. I was happy to see doctors who are trained to perform surgeries and to hear stories of women who have recovered. Who didn't even know there was the possibility of a medical treatment. So they've been isolated from society for 50 years. I photographed old ladies who had it when they were 15 and they got surgery when they were 65.
That's our show for today. For more health news, wellness tips, and medical breakthroughs, stay connected to Voice of America at voaafrica.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Linor Moudou. Until next time, stay well and strive to make every day a healthy day.